Is there a price tag on my encounter with Jesus? A young man had decided to be a missionary, but his father wanted him to join his corporation. "Don't you want to make a mark on the world?" the father asked. The son replied, "Which world, father?" Nothing so changes our priorities and rearranges our senses of values as an encounter with Jesus. When Jesus comes in, something happens to the price tags. Before we met him, some things seemed like irresistible bargains. But now, with new eyes, we see that the cost is prohibitive. And the price on some things that we thought were impossibly high now may seem quite inconsequential. It all depends on which world you are trying to gain. When Jesus captures the heart, there is no question about what the choice will be. A young man, talented and very rich, came to Jesus one day. He could have developed into a mighty apostle, as Paul later became, and Jesus loved him. What a chance the young man had. But he asked the price, and Jesus told him. His future trembled in the balance for a long moment. Then he turned sorrowfully away, because he considered the price too high. What a miserable decision that youth made. He could have paid with only his possessions. Instead, he paid with his soul. Jesus said, "What shall it profit a man if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul?" Today in our study, we encounter the relationship between God's gifts and our thanks. What will it cost to follow Jesus?
Then said Jesus unto his disciples, If any man will come after me, let him deny himself, and take up his cross, and follow me.
When Jesus comes into the life, there will be a lot of changes. We will be new people with new interests, new desires, new priorities, a completely new sense of values. Our relationship with Jesus requires us to give up what would hinder us, drag us down, prove a curse to us. But there will be changes in our recreation, for instance, in the music we listen to, in what we watch, and in what we choose to read. What guiding principles does Paul give us in these matters?
Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue, and if there be any praise, think on these things.
Knowing Jesus will make a lot of difference in our television viewing. Consecrated fingers will often turn the dial to the off position. Consecrated minds will realize that a movie is not made pure and virtuous by being in the living room instead of the theater. Consecrated ears will not want to listen to the pounding beat of rock, a beat that bypasses the conscience and appeals directly to the body. How can we know what is right and wrong when we are dealing with things the Bible doesn't mention? There is an easy way, really. You see, a Christian has been given a new nature. But the old nature does not want to die. It hangs around, hoping it will be let in again. Here's the secret. The nature that you feed is the nature that will win out. When you are confronted with a question of right and wrong, then simply ask yourself, which nature does it feed? That will settle it every time. Our appearance too, and our dress, will be changed by our new commitment. What counsel does Peter give on the subject of dress?
Whose adorning let it not be that outward adorning of plaiting the hair, and of wearing of gold, or of putting on of apparel. But let it be the hidden man of the heart, and that which is not corruptible, even the ornament of a meek and quiet spirit, which is in the sight of God of great price.
We are transmitting a message all the time. One way we do it is by our appearance, by the way we dress, and this applies as much to men as to women. But we're talking about price tags. Will your encounter with Jesus and your commitment to Him cost you something in actual cash? Back in Old Testament times, 1/10 of a man's income, called the tithe, which means simply a tenth, was given for the support of the priests. Should the tithing plan be followed today?
Even so hath the Lord ordained that they which preach the gospel should live of the gospel.
Those who preach the gospel should have support so that they are free to devote their full time to the ministry. The Pharisees were very careful about paying tithe. They paid it even on garden herbs. What did Jesus say to the Pharisees?
Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For ye pay tithe of mint and anise and cumin, and have omitted the weightier matters of the law, judgment, mercy, and faith. These ought ye to have done, and not to leave the other undone.
They paid tithe carefully, but they omitted some things that were just as important. Jesus said they should have done both. What did God say about a man who does not pay tithe?
Will a man rob God? Yet ye have robbed me. But ye say, wherein have we robbed thee? In tithes and offerings.
Because the tithe is part of our income that God claims as His, we should return it to Him as a matter of simple honesty. It is not an offering. What should we do with the tithe?
Bring ye all the tithes into the storehouse, that there may be meat in mine house.
The storehouse is the church. That is why the tithe is to be paid into the church, and ministers should be paid equally from this fund. How much better God's plan is than man's. No minister is dependent on what comes in on the offering plate. No minister will forsake a smaller church for a larger one so that he can get more pay. No minister will be afraid to speak the truth to his congregation for fear his source of income will be cut off. What does God promise to those who faithfully return Him their tithe?
And prove me now herewith, saith the Lord of hosts, if I will not open you the windows of heaven, and pour you out a blessing, that there shall not be room enough to receive it.
What a promise! Not room enough to receive it, but even if there were no such promise, even if a commitment to Jesus should cost us a real sacrifice, could it even compare with what He did for us? Could anything He asks of us in any line be too much? Think it through. I gave my life for thee, my precious blood I shed, that thou mightest ransom be and quicken from the dead. I gave my life for thee. What hast thou given for me?